Hey guys, Jason with Unit Solutions. Let's talk about how to safely load and unload a TPAK from the magazine and within the magazine. So you take your Unit 4 magazine, you'll notice that on the back here, you got some clips, right? You need to push the detent, as I'm doing here. That may be hard to see on the camera, but I'm just pushing the detent down. Unclip that. On the bottom of the magazine, you'll see that it's still clipped. This is a safety mechanism built in, and I want to point that out. It'll make a lot more sense later when you see what it looks like when we unload a TPAK. So it's still clipped. We're going to push another detent here. Push that down. You'll be able to push that clip out of there, and notice that the bottom of the magazine now just drops out. It enables you to be able to load the TPAK at this point. So the TPAK, this is, there's a couple different ways to do this. This is how I suggest that you do this, though, kind of here from on out. If you'll remember, the safety rules of firearms, that'll kind of help you with principles for this as well, as don't point this at yourself or others, right? So just like you wouldn't do that with a rifle, don't do that with your magazine and TPAK at this point either. So I'm going to use one of our non-markers. So you can see what happens when I need to break off the orange tab here. So I'm going to set the magazine down. Going to break that orange tab off. And all that's doing, guys, the great thing about the TPAK is it's got a follower in it, just like your magazine does in your actual live AR magazine as well. So at this point, what you need to do is the CO2 canister, which is part of the TPAK here. Make sure you point that up. You're going to notice a set of rails, and again, that might be a little hard to see on camera, but there's a set of rails in there. Just take that TPAK. You're going to slide that in very easily. You don't have to force this. Please don't force this, as you don't want this to pierce the CO2 canister yet. Raise that bottom of the magazine back up. That same clip, so from here on out, all we're doing is the backwards process, right? So that same clip, you're going to reclip it. Okay, this is very, very important. Notice I have not applied any pressure yet. At this point, what I want you to do is what we always call it is committing to the latch. Commit to the latch, do so forcefully and all at once, and it's back to its way that it started when we were going over how to undo the latch on the back there. So the TPAK is now ready to use. You've got 30 rounds of ammunition. It's got a follower in there, so what that's going to do on the rifle as you're using it, that's going to, when you get to the last round, that'll actually lock your rifle back as well, just like your live AR. Let's go on to unloading the TPAK. Same process. What I want to go ahead and prepare everybody for is this. You're going to see the CO2 come out. Okay, so it's a big burst of air. Same principles apply as you're unloading this. Just don't point it at yourself or anybody else, just like you wouldn't with a firearm. So grab the magazine on the top here. Again, point it away from yourself. You are going to see a burst of air. So undo the clip here. All that's doing is expelling all the rest of the CO2 that was in here after using this magazine. One other thing that I want to talk about for the unloading procedures here, right? You've got a detent here. Make sure you push that, because what that's doing is that's making sure that all of the CO2 is expelled out of this magazine. Provided that you can undo, or provided that you can push this detent, it's now safe to unclip. Notice I did not unclip this prior to doing that and ensuring that all that CO2 is out. You can unclip here at the bottom, and you're able to remove this TPAK. Okay, so one other thing to note, sometimes the TPAK will actually stay inside the magazine. How you would handle that, and why it normally does that, guys, is that you may have expelled all of the air, especially when you start using the blanks. So the most important part here is you want to make sure that you keep it clipped. Do not unclip this yet, because you'll still have pressure. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're actually going to find a hard surface. Notice that I'm pointing the bottom of the magazine away from me, right? You're going to push down on that. Okay, and what it will do is it will actually push the TPAK down below the magazine. And what will happen there a lot of times as well is you'll get that same expulsion, the CO2, the rest of the CO2 that was in the magazine, it'll actually come out at that point as well. hit your detent, you know it's safe to unload or unclip, and you'll be able to remove that TPAK. Once you get done with the TPAK, just discard the TPAK, and you're able to then load your next TPAK in and continue your training. So if you want more information on the Unit 4 magazine or our TPAKs, you know, which come in non-markers, as I showed you earlier, blanks, and then you've got your markers. If you want more information on any of that, go to unitsolutions.com.